This is my presentation for phase 3 of the term project for the big data class at the University of Bridgeport, CPSC 651. So to introduce this project, this is a project to use a big data system, Hadoop in particular, to review large sets of data. In our particular case, what we are looking at is data around the behavior of readers of books. So uh, even though there has been a growth in digital media and social media, there's still a lot of people that really turn to books uh, for pleasure as they read, and there are millions of readers out there. This actually can be supported by the fact that there are some large systems that go to supporting these readers. Things like Amazon.com, which began as an online retailer of books that has a really robust rating system for books as people read them. They've also moved into other areas of business, but books was their main source of revenue to start with. There's also sites like Goodreads.com, which is specifically around providing services to people who love to read books so that they could get on and share the books that they're reading. They could rate books. They could build up a reading list and decide what they wanted to read and get recommendations from other users. These systems track the behavior of these readers. And because of the number of readers that they have and the amount of books there are out there, it results in a large amount of data. And so as we look at our project here, we're going to be using some of this data because it requires large-scale data systems for data processing. This particular project, we're not going to use the full set of data from Goodreads for reasons you'll see in a minute, but we're actually going to simulate one of these data analysis projects with a subset of data from Goodreads, and so that we can start looking at some of this reader behavior. So again, for problem definition, this data that is held in Goodreads it's behavioral information about how people like to read and the kinds of things that they're interested in. Now, this is actually based off a large segment of the population. So Goodreads has about 90 million users. That's about a third of the population of the United States. They also have cataloged about 2.6 billion books. And books typically in Goodreads are entered by the users themselves. And so most, if not all of those books have at least one review. Although in our case, we're going to look at that and see if see if there are books in there that don't have reviews and things like that. Because of the sheer size of this, you have to use large-scale data processing platforms in order to even start to get some of information out of these systems, this data. So that's actually why we've chosen it, because it's such a large set of data. Again, in our case, we're going to subset this data to make it a little bit more manageable for this project. So that subset of data that we're going to be used is called GoodBooks 10K. It was produced in as open source. A gentleman that went to Goodreads and he pulled down the top 10,000 rated books on Goodreads.com. Those 10,000 books equate to about 6 million reviews. The data that he pulled down includes not just the book and the information about the book, but also the ratings of those books by different rating values, 1 through 5. It also includes any tags of those books, so what genre it is and what subgenre, things like that. It also includes information about the users that reviewed those books, what those users rated them as, and if those users tagged them, and also what the users tagged as books they would like to read, so they are looking forward to reading something instead of having read it and being able to give a review. Again, that data set is freely available on github.com. The other thing I will say about the data set is, again, this is only 10,000 books, but it is a fairly sizable set of data with that many reviews and so on. We can also augment this by using the APIs of Goodreads to go and grab even more books and even more reviews if we need to augment this data and make it a larger data set. So, all right, so for the programming and analysis of this data, we are planning on using the Hadoop platform for this subset, this Google 10K or GoodBooks 10K, sorry. The primary storage is going to be on HDFS, the distributed file system for Hadoop. This is going to give us some redundancy. It also allows us to have, because we have multiple nodes, it allows us to do parallel processing of that data as we do our analysis. The analysis is really going to come in two sections. So the first one is going to be using MapReduce. This is going to be for our simple aggregations, things like average number of ratings per book and average number of ratings per user and average rating value per user per book, things like that. We also will probably get into something where we look at like the average or the number of ratings or the average ratings per book by the publication date. That will require us to do something a little bit more advanced inside of MapReduce, writing a partitioner in addition to the mapper and the reducer. For the more advanced analysis, we're actually going to turn away from MapReduce and use Spark to do that. Spark was sort of the next evolution after MapReduce. It was developed by some students and faculty at the University of California, Berkeley. But it opened up the Hadoop platform to be able to use more programming languages and do some more sophisticated analysis above and beyond the Java framework that is MapReduce and Hadoop. So we're going to be using Spark for that more detailed analysis. We're going to be looking at distributions of reviews by tags and users, distributions of tags by publication year, and looking for any correlation there might be between user reviews to what the user is interested in, and see if there's any correlation between like genres and things like that. So again, that's the summary of what our project proposal is. Here are the references again that we're using. We are using data from Goodreads again. It is the Goodbook 10K, so it's a subset of that data, and it's available on GitHub. So we are going to end here, but hopefully our next presentation will include more of the data and the actual analysis. Thank you.